Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance. And this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Jim. And here's his story. Dear Ollie, I've been watching you for months. Thank you for what you do. I'm going by the name of Jim, and after the backstory, the other name I'd like you to use for the N is Nick. Backstory, I have 3 brothers. I'm third in line of 4. I don't remember too much of what happened before our mom passed away of an aneurysm. But the nickname given to me was Scatterbrain. My older brother was Numbskull. I just turned 8. My younger brother was 6. My older brothers are 9 and 10. After Mom passed, I don't know if any family stepped up and offered to help my dad raise the 4 of us, so I can't speculate. Obviously, we're all traumatized losing our mother, and in time dealt with it individually. I can only speak on my experiences when I was 12 when my dad married this god-awful woman with 4 kids of her own. I didn't trust her from the moment we met. There was just something off about her. I was always stuck at home with her youngest son and babysat a lot. When I was 14, I came home from school and that woman approached me, grabbed me by the collar of my coat, put her finger in my face and said, "You killed your mother and are you trying to kill me?" Needless to say, I was devastated and had no idea what she meant. More on that later. My dad came home from work, and the only thing I remember was sitting at my desk doing my homework, being grabbed from behind, my dad on top of me beating me. A few days later, he came to me and said, "I have to pack my things. I was going to live with my aunt, uncle, older cousin, and his wife." I didn't have a clue what was going on. He took me there, dropped me off, and said he would see me later. 2 or 3 weeks went by with no contact. Then he showed up, told me to pack my things. We were going home. I asked, home, or back to that woman's house? My dad replied, home. Fast forward to 2006. Shortly before my dad passed away, turns out that woman's son was sodomizing and raping his little brother, who was still in diapers, and blamed it on me. Well, that makes sense. As justice turns out, that woman's son was as justice would have it, as an adult, the same son was raping his freaking nephew. He got what he deserved in prison. The damage to me was already done, but justice served. After high school, I did 13 years Navy, drank like a fish, tried to put my childhood in perspective. I was pretty okay mentally with the past, had a stroke, and got mentally discharged. Did the college thing, worked in a college attorney's office for another 13 years. Was in a serious accident and had to move back home. Lived and still live with my older brother, alcoholic and severe weed smoker. Never got over our mother's death. After all this study, I believe he has more than a few characteristics of narcissism. Anyway, I adopted some neighbor kids because I saw them growing up without guidance and knew what it was like. One of the friends of the oldest neighbor, Nick, as mentioned above, was a special case. He was 16 at the time and he started coming around. He's now 21 and a half. He had the most severe childhood of all of them. Disappeared till I ran into him 2 years later. Asked me to adopt him and teach him about life. Nick was normal at first, but about 3 months in started acting like he couldn't live without me and kept saying it was him and I against the world. That's a red flag. He would make statements like, "I don't care if you're talking to Jesus when I call, you pick up the phone." He made sure I was totally consumed by him. The neighbor kid and his younger brother were getting jealous, for lack of a better word. I had no clue at the time what I was dealing with. Shortly before I would learn later would be the first discard. Helped him buy a truck, took me almost a year in a court case to be paid back. During that time, he also triangulated me with his other primary source. Kissed me on the cheek often, hugged, spoke to me, and treated me like we were dating. Didn't know what to make of it. Didn't think things through either. I was impressed somebody was that into me. I lost my head. In October, 6 months after no contact, he got a hold of me and we started speaking again. He apologized and said things would be different if I gave him another chance. Things went even farther this time. I still didn't know what I was dealing with. And when he started his shouting fits at me, I said I wasn't scared of him. His eyes got real big and then he stated, "No one's ever talked to me like that. I respect you." One night in March, he called me in the middle of the night, really drunk, and asked me to come get him. We used to go for drives, and it was his inner peace time, as he called it. As we were driving, he said, "Put your hand on my dick." He repeated it 3 times because I was in complete disbelief. Anyway, he said he wanted to be closer to me. What I learned is projection. He knew what I wanted. The next day we didn't talk about anything, but he said it was the worst experience of his life. I know that drunk actions are sober thoughts. There's a lot more I could say, but given the memorable instances here, I've learned about soul ties and have prayed for them to be broken. Apparently they are not completely severed. As in when he is thinking about contacting me in the past and this round of silent treatment is just about up. I'm waking up in the middle of the night again and have been severely depressed. This entire 6-month on period I've been treated like the dirty little secret. He has turned all his female friends against me, his mother and sister. I believe he is afraid I believe it's because he is afraid I might spill the beans on him. He must not realize I would be humiliated if things got out. If he would have kept things as he first stated, mentor or caregiver, I could deal with that. Ollie, I know in my end it's my decision to keep no contact or low contact, but please let me know what you think. I really care about him as a person, but other than that, I'm at a loss here. No one close to me I can speak to. Thank you. Jim, you got issues. You got issues from your childhood, and you got the same issues as Nick does. You were both sexually abused. The two of you need to deal with your sexual abuse, your sexuality, what happened to you in your past. You are reliving your childhood through your quote-unquote mentorships with these kids. And look, you need to be very careful because, it can come off as grooming yourself. You understand? I mean, there's a lot you didn't mention, you left out about your childhood, and I mean, to be beaten up like that, thrown out for 2 to 3 weeks, and then just go back to your home. So I guess your father had 2 homes, only to find out you were accused of sexually abusing family members, younger brothers, when it was the other one doing it. Something tells me there was a lot of sexual abuse going on. It would explain why your brother's so severely depressed. Explains your depression, explains why you're around kids who are less fortunate and have been obviously sexually abused. Obviously, there's issues with sexuality on both ends. You went into the Navy for 13 years and you drank and gave yourself a stroke while in the Navy? What were you, in your 30s? And you had a stroke? I mean, Jim, you have a lot of work to do on yourself before you can help someone else. And I think this is part of your problem, is you're susceptible. Nick has a lot of narc tendencies, and he may be a narc himself, but he needs help. He obviously has sexuality issues. He's obviously been sexually abused like you have. You're the adult. I mean, you're the older adult. You're the mentor. At the end, it's all your decision. Every interaction with him is your decision. Every interaction with these people you're mentoring is your decision, but you're not ready to mentor anybody. You can't mentor anybody until you work on yourself. You're only going to drag yourself down deeper because you don't know how to handle these things. You don't even have a full grasp of what happened to you. How are you going to deal with this? Because this is the same thing you've been dealing with since childhood, I'm sure. It's not a coincidence. None of it is. Look into getting yourself some help. And maybe nick some professional help, because the two of you have major issues to work through. And you're no help to him, and he's no help to you. And maybe if you guys can come to terms to what you are and what your sexuality is and be all right with it, and maybe down the road. But there's a lot that would need to happen in between. I mean, the way you describe it, the driving in the car, and it all seems like you guys are reenacting abuse, past abuses, the two of you. You can't continue to reenact past abuses, either one of you. You have to deal with the past openly and honestly, for both your sakes. So, thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your story. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel to support it in general, see it grow, keep the bills on and expanding, because this channel is supported 100% by contributions from all of you. It survives and succeeds by you. So if you like these videos and you want to see more of them, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance.